What's going on, everybody? This is S Trades, and in today's video we're going to be going over a quick psychological yap and just pretty much going over what made trading click for me, at least, and just give you guys some advice and some psychological tips that could definitely help you guys out in your trading. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So everyone always asks and everyone always thinks that there might be this one thing and one single day that trading will just automatically like snap and click, and then all of a sudden you're just going to be pulling out tens and thousands of dollars of payouts and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I hate to break it to you, there isn't gonna be a single day where that will happen, but eventually what will happen is you'll gradually come towards that point, right? You're gonna be blowing mad accounts, you're gonna be losing so much money in trading, you're gonna be at the edge, at the literally bottom of the bottom, like you cannot go any lower. At that point, that's when you're gonna have trading to kind of start turning on you, and you might have to work on certain things. And then once you actually work on those certain things, that's when trading will quote unquote click for you, right? Because now you're working on your mistakes, and that's kind of where I want to take this video at, right? The number one thing that I would say is quote unquote what clicked for me, right, is determining your major flaws, right? Your major mistakes, the major mistakes that are holding you back from profitability, analyzing what is that certain mistake, right? And working specifically on that goal and on that mistake inside of trading and outside of trading, right? Now, what does that mean, right? So, the way you could go about this, right, and the way everyone should go about this is, first of all, of course, journaling, right? You will never know what's your current mistakes, what are your common mistakes in your trading unless you don't journal, right? So, the number one thing that you guys should all be doing is journaling your goddamn trades. I know it is super frustrating. I know it is super boring to journal every single day, work on your bias, write what you're thinking and how the trades go and things like that. I know that's boring, but these small quote unquote boring stuff is what's gonna make you profitable over the long run, right? You think all these famous and rich traders that make so much money off of trading, you think they just wake up, roll out of bed 5 minutes before market open at 9:25, look at their phone, goon and doom scroll, and then just hop on the charts and just be like, oh well, we're looking pretty bearish because we just dumped a little bit. Let me just take a random ass short. No, they don't do that. You have to have a whole routine for this. You have to have a proper routine. You wake up an hour or 45 minutes before market open. You go and analyze what's going on. What's the pre-market looking like? Then you go ahead and journal it. You journal what is your bias looking like. You put in all the main points. You start to see, okay, I am bearish or I'm bullish because this and that. You put that down. You write that down, because the moment you start writing things down, that's when things will gonna be start to kind of remember inside your head, right? And then that will be another way of you kind of just coming back, like for example, as a weekly recap, right? On a weekend, go back to your trades for the week and see, okay, well, my bias was bullish here because this and that, and then look over and be like, well, why was I bullish here? Because there was no actual good bullish confirmations, right? Maybe I was just had a certain bias from something, right? So that's kind of what's gonna help you to start determining your main mistakes, right? Just to kind of show you guys and just to prove that you don't need these fancy ass like journaling softwares or pay for these things. By all means, those paid platforms like TradeZella is very good. It's very beneficial. I have TradeZella for backtesting, but I just had personally journaled over OneNote, like literally Microsoft OneNote. And let me just show you guys real quick. Literally, this is it right here. I just have Microsoft OneNote, and you could see all of my trades on the right here, all of my L's, all of my wins, everything that I put up. Right, for example, today, the trade recap that I'm gonna be posting later. Right, I put my bias. Right, I put my screenshot of my entries. I put how I had my trade, what I thought of. Right, for example, Tuesday, I could go back and see, okay, what was I doing on Tuesday? This is my bullish bias, right? For example, right. Why was I bullish? Then looking at my entries and I see that I took a short. Why did I take a short when I was bullish, right? Go back on Monday, okay? So we have this now, Trump news and things like that. Now, why did I take this trade? I have, a whole paragraph writing that. So these are the things that you guys need to be doing, right? This is what's quote unquote boring, right? This is what is, a lot of people don't want to do. I know this is the boring part, but you guys have to do this, right? There's not going to be a way you guys could determine what's your mistakes, where you guys going wrong, unless you journal, right? So number one, journal. A must have thing that everyone should be doing, right? So after you journal, right, there's another mistake that people do is they just put up their journal, right, write whatever, their bias, their trades, and their feelings, whatever for the day, and they just never look at it. What is the point of the journal if you're never going to look at it? You know what I mean? So if you guys aren't actively looking at your journal, if you guys aren't, you don't have to be just looking at it every single, like, 5-10 minutes, of course. But put up your journal, put up your buys and your trades for the week, and then every Saturday, Sunday, do a weekly recap for yourself, right? Go back and see, okay, what did I do on Monday? What did I do on Tuesday? What did I do wrong? What did I do right? And at that point, you guys are gonna start seeing, okay, this is the common denominator. This is the common mistake that I'm doing, right? I'm taking trades too late, for example, right? I'm oversizing. I am, trying to revenge trade at a certain point, right? You're gonna start to see and pick up on these points, right? You guys are never gonna be able to see this and know this if you don't journal, and B, you don't go back and look at your journal, right? So those are the two things as your first point, right? Journal, and of course, go goddamn read your journal, okay? So moving on to the next point, after you read your journal, after you start to see these common mistakes that you're having in your trading, now it's time to work on those mistakes, right? So if you guys are starting to see a common pattern, for example, if you guys are taking trades past 11 and you guys seeing that most of your trades that are past 11 you guys are losing, just eliminate the trades past 11. Like, you're seeing that your current strategy isn't working good with time frame past 11, so just don't trade it past 11. There you go, that one mistake eliminated. That is going to cut majority of your losses that you had past 11. Okay, so you're starting to see your mistakes right now. You realize, okay, past 11 the trades aren't as probable, so I'm just not going to take those, right? Boom, you got your first mistake, right? Looking at further, right? So let's say you are having hesitation with your entries, right? For example, you have a strategy, right? You're working on it, you've got this strategy from a mentor or something, but in the journal you're seeing that you are still hesitating on the strategy, right? You might be, guessing the bias correctly. You might start to see that, okay, I am predicting the movements for the day in the correct direction most of the time, but somewhat and for some weird reason, every single time when it comes for me to press the button buy or sell, I'm hesitating and I'm missing out on those entries, and then potentially I'm like trying to chase the trade or FOMO into a trade because I just missed my initial entry and things like that. So then boom, you have your second mistake, right? Now what do you do about that? Go and back test, right? You have a strategy. Everybody that has a quote unquote strategy, you do not have a strategy until you backtested that strategy for goddamn years, okay? If you don't have years worth of data behind your strategy, you are gambling, right? You might think that's a crazy take, but I promise you it's not, right? Way too many people just get a strategy from their mentor, they just trust their word, and they just go about and trading it, right? No matter who the mentor is, right? It could be the best mentor in the world that has proven track record of $1 million goddamn dollars every single day. It doesn't matter, right? It's another person. He has a lot more conviction in his strategy because he has a lot more experience with it. He backtested that strategy for years and years, so he has the statistics behind his strategy, right? So he doesn't have those hesitations. Why? Because he's seen his strategy play out countless and countless of times, right? So he doesn't have anything behind his in the back of his head, like, well, what if this doesn't work? He doesn't care about that because he has analytics of his data. He has data to show and prove that, okay, when this and this happens, right? So we get a liquidity sweep of Asia low, and then boom, you get the highest time frame inversion, and there's an obvious unfilled Fibonacci gap above us, and I take the highest time frame inversion in the leg, boom, 80% of the time it will work. So I'm just gonna take that A plus setup all the time, no matter if it's a win or loss, right? So that is what it will happen once you start building the conviction, right? And how you're going to build the conviction is by simply back testing and coming into the live markets every single day and forward testing it also, right? So once you have a year or two, worth of data, and you might think it's a lot, I promise you guys it's not a lot. You could literally back test a year of data in a week, and even less than a week if you just, put in a few hours in a day. It's really not that hard to back test because the trades go like this. Like, you're literally looking at every single day within minutes, right? You're just analyzing what's happening, right? If your strategy there, if everything that you need is there, like, it doesn't take that long to backtest, right? You just need to want it bad enough. And I know these things are boring, not everyone's gonna do it, right? But again, this is what makes that 5% or whatever percentage you guys want to call for these profitable traders apart from the ones who fail, right? They put in that extra work, right? They journal, they backtest, they do all the boring stuff, right? The boring stuff is what's gonna make you profitable. People think that you're trying to find this way out, trying to find all the quote unquote excitement stuff to get your dopamine rush going and stuff. No, like, once trading becomes boring, and once you're just sitting there and you're super bored, You're not actively looking for a trade. You're just simply waiting, and you're seeing if the market is going to what you want to see. Like, you're just pretty much sitting and patiently waiting and, reacting to what the market is showing you. If there are conditions that are absolutely horrible, you're just like chilling, like, no, I'm not gonna take anything because I don't like anything. There's nothing for me to take. My strategy is not present, so I'm just not gonna take it. I'm just gonna sit out. It might take an hour, it might take 2 hours or 3 hours for me, the whole morning just wasted, but it's not wasted though. You know what I'm saying? You're just looking at the charts. You're actively looking at what the market is showing, and you're building that discipline. You're building that psychological strength for you to just sit there and not take a trade. That takes a big toll. Not a lot of people could just sit there the entire morning from 9:30 to 11 or whatever, whenever you trade, and just not take anything, because your brain subconsciously automatically starts to say, well, if I'm not trying to do something, if I'm not actively, pressing buy and sell with this mouse, then I'm not, working towards my goal. That is so not true, because majority of the time, the profitable trading is just you sitting and not trading. Like 90% of the time, 95% of the time, you're just sitting there. You're not doing anything. That's kind of how the game of trading works. You're just literally sitting there waiting, and waiting. That's why you need consistently be patient with your trades, because if the moment you start to become impatient, the moment you start to get, bored or whatever, you want to have some little bit of fun, you want to get excited a little bit, that's when things will go wrong. That's when things are still going to start going south. That's when you're going to start blowing accounts. That's when you're going to start over trading, revenge trading, trying to chase extra profits and things like that, right? Like I said, once you start journaling and once you start finding those common mistakes that you guys have, for example, me, I would always have this mistake where I would, copy trade multiple funded accounts or whatever, and then every single time I would get 1 day away from a payout for just, obviously it's not some reason, but for a very obvious reason, I would trade like absolute dog water on that last day. Like, I would be so close to getting my biggest payout ever, and I would always blow my accounts up. Obviously I got payouts, a lot of payouts before with, multiple funded accounts that require 5 winning days. But every single time on that 5th winning day, my psychology and my emotions just would absolutely become the worst of the worst. I would literally just become a degenerate, just trying to get anything possible, right? So that was one of my biggest mistakes, right? So what did I do? What did I do to change it, right? I just simply changed my account type. I went with Tradify, and I got their select daily plans, which is pretty much you could get payouts every single day. So with me, I would always have a lot of winning days. Like, I would get 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 winning days back to back, right? I would build up that buffer, and on that last day, I would blow up my account. Like, it happened so many times with so many funded accounts. I would be copy trading them. I would be trading them individually. It doesn't matter. I would always somehow fumble it, right? I've gotten payouts with 5 winning days before, quite a few times, but for another half of the portion, I would always blow them. There's something about it that, I was just thinking, why do I always do the same mistake? So let me try to switch something up, right? I started going on those select daily plans where you can get past every single day, where you pretty much just build a certain buffer, your drawdown buffer, and then everything past that buffer zone, you get payouts every single day. That changed my trading completely. Like, I am withdrawing payouts consistently, just because I know I can be winning. Like, I have winning days all the time, right? I know in the back of my head, and according to my data, I have those winning days all the time, right? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 winning days back to back to back to back. But it would always be in the back of my head, I'm like, yo, I'm winning all of these days, but that one day is just ruining everything, right? So I'm like, why do I not just switch to another, account type that will make me capitalize on those winning days that I'm already having, which is again why I switched to these daily payout plans, right? So that is one of the changes that helped me out personally a lot, and that's another thing that you guys could do. Now, I'm not by any means saying that the 5 winning days or whatever is bad for you guys. Absolutely not. You could get absolute huge payouts, right? The only con with the way I trade now is I could get smaller, like 1K payouts every single day. But if you really think about it, 1K payout every single day is not bad at all. Like, if you have 4 winning days, that's 4K, and let's just say you have 5 accounts, my guy, that's like 20K. That's not, it's really not that bad. So that's kind of what helped me out personally. That's kind of the switch that I made, right? So see what the mistakes and what, common problems that you guys are having, and actively working on them, right? And the very last tip that I want to leave you guys off with is getting into a good relationship with God, right? Now, you guys might be thinking, what the hell am I talking about here? Like, what does God and what does religion have anything to do with trading? Let me tell you guys, it has absolutely everything to do with trading. Then the day I became super close with God, the day I started doing extra prayers, the day I started asking more from God, the way I started putting more efforts into building that good relationship is the time I started seeing good results, right? It doesn't matter if you're Muslim, you're Christian or whatever, right? Alhamdulillah, I've been blessed to be at the current position that I'm in right now. But I am nowhere near where I want to be. Like, I'm not claiming to be this profitable trader yet. I'm getting payouts, but again, I'm still not where I want to be. I have a very, very long way to go. But still, I'm not complaining. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful for the opportunity that God has given me. Not everyone has this drive. Not everyone has a current opportunity that we have, right? A lot of people don't realize these small things, right? People think, everything that they have is just nothing. People take so much things for granted, right? People in the Middle East, goddamn it, they get blown up every single day. Little children are eating freaking, food from goddamn puddles. They're drinking dirty water from these mugs that they chuck freaking water from. Like, it's so much. Like, if you guys are starting to, get closer to your religion and start to see how other people living, how, you know other circumstances people have, you guys will realize the amount of blessings that you guys have. The fact alone that you have enough money to just buy an eval account, the fact that you guys have a roof under your head, clean water, clean food every single day, day in and day out. You guys have a good home, good, loving parents and things like that. That's already a freaking big blessing, right? You're healthy, you have everything that you need. You might not be the best in physically shape, but you have everything. You have, a healthy body, a healthy eyes, healthy, every organs and everything. Like, you guys might not see these, but they're such important things that everybody takes for granted. And I only started seeing this once I started getting close to God. And again, I'm Muslim, and there's a lot of devotion and there's a lot of emphasis being put into being grateful and becoming closer with God and trusting that process, right? And a lot of people have this like woke mindset, just grind all the time, and do this manifestation, right? Think of positive things, and things like that. No matter if you're very, very like not religious, or if you're religious, there's always going to be that certain like higher power in your mind, right? For example, even manifestation, like people that are super, super secular, that aren't religious, they all talk about manifestation. What is, like, in a sense, what is manifestation, right? You're thinking positively, you're trying to affirm yourself of positive thoughts, positive actions, and you're actively believing that good things will come your way. And what do you do in that meantime, right? You do good things, right? You work on yourself to become a better person, right? You work out to be physically healthy, then you work out to be mentally healthy, right? And you get good relationship with your parents, with your friends, and everything like that, right? All of this just ties back with God, right? No matter if you believe in God or if you don't believe in God, it all comes back down to that relationship with a higher power, right? You always either manifesting from something to happen at some point. You're just having that drive and you're having that belief that one day it will work out. It all comes back to God and religion, guys. If you guys, again, have been lacking on that, I highly, highly suggest you guys get that relationship with God. Start working on yourself. Start working better as a person. Do good deeds. Give out money to the poor. I know a lot of people will say, well, I'm like not in a very financial position myself. I don't have money or whatever. Guys, trust me, you guys have money, bro. Giving out like 5, 10, 20, 50 bucks or whatever, you guys could buy accounts, so you guys could definitely give out to the poor. You guys don't understand how this correlation works. You give out to the poor, and I promise you guys, and it's not just the poor, it's just everyone who's might be in an inconvenient position, right? People that aren't able to work, people that maybe not have all their limbs, or people that are in other countries getting bombed constantly by who, and things like that. So give out your money to help other people, and I promise you guys, your money will twice, 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x return to you. And I guarantee you guys that will happen. Like, the moment I started giving back to charity, the moment I started helping other people, the moment I started believing and being more positive in life. I used to be a very, very negative person, and until this day I'm still struggling with negative thoughts in my head all the time. I might be hesitant, I might not believe in myself all the time or whatever, but all of these dark times that I've had, every single time I got pulled through it with God only. Everything that I've had now is all because of God. Every single day that I had, these deep down, sad, depressed moments where I like rinsed so many accounts. You guys don't even understand the amount of money that I lost in trading. is absolutely insane. I would rinse and rinse and rinse evals. I would go through evals like it's nothing, bro. I would reset an account 5 times in one day because I'm crashing the hell out. Like, I'm just trying to make my money back and things like that. And then at the end of the day, I would just be absolutely crushed. I would be so depressed. I would just wonder to myself, what in the world am I doing right now? Like, I would be so like fathomably just not in a good spot, mentally and physically. So, and then with these things, every single time when I was at that point, I would go back to God. I would pray to God. I would beg God, please help me out. Please get me out of this situation. Help me to become more disciplined. Help me to become more patient with trading. Grant me more opportunities. Grant me, to be in these better places in the future. Right? I want to help my parents. I want to have all these big goals and things like that. Right? Please help me achieve them. Right? The moment you start putting it out there with God, the moment you start getting that relationship, you guys are gonna automatically see results. You guys are gonna be doing more things towards yourself. You guys are gonna become better as a person. You guys are gonna be working on different things to improve on yourself, and then that's when you guys are gonna start to see major results. I guarantee you guys. Do not sleep on this. Majority of the people, even now, that are super famous and are, got profitable, they all talk about God at some point. They all say that they're nothing without God, because that is the end of the day. You are truly nothing without God. If you're not actively giving back, and if you're not actively getting into that relationship with God, you will not achieve anything, because you will come to a point where, yes, you might get lucky in your life. You might get that millions and millions of dollars. You might get lucky to that point, right? But you'll be empty inside. A lot of these people that don't have a relationship with God and that are super rich, they're all depressed because they don't have that end goal. They don't have that relationship with God. So when they do get what they really desire their whole entire lives, which was money, right, which was fame or whatever, at that point they just become so depressed. They're like, well, we got what we wanted now, but what now? They don't have that relationship with God, so they don't have anything to look forward to. They don't have, they might be, some of them might be showing gratitude or whatever, but a lot of the people won't. A lot of people just get what they need, and then they will be just stuck. You don't want to be in that situation ever, guys. Trust me. Like, there's a lot of people that commit suicide. They kill themselves all because they have all the money in the world, but they don't have any relationship with God, and they're super lost. They don't know what they're doing. They don't have any other purposes in life because they fulfilled their number one priority goal. And everyone says, money doesn't bring you happiness or whatever. It's all BS, right? It's not necessarily that the money specifically brings you happiness, but it's what money can do is what gonna bring you happiness, right? For example, me, I want to retire my parents. I want to retire my wife. I want to retire my whole family. I want to help other people. I want to help the poor. I want to help the needy, right? I can't do any of those things. I want to go travel. I want to go, travel the whole entire world. I want to see all these different places, different people, different cultures, right? I will never be able to do that working a simple 9 to 5 job and just having absolutely zero freedom. You will never be able to do that if you're not financially there, right? So yes, as a result, you're working hard. You're going to get rich at some point. But it's not necessarily the money, but it's what money can bring you, right? Me helping out other people, me giving money back to my mom, me helping out this maybe poor kid on the street, or these people that don't have food, or me going to another country on a random Tuesday is what will bring you happiness and peace. And at the end of the day, after you will achieve that, and I promise you guys, if you guys implement everything that I said, I promise you guys, you're going to start to see results. And when you do get those results, always go back to God and show gratitude. Be thankful to God, because without God, we're all absolutely nothing. That was about it for this video, guys. I know I got a little bit religious towards the end, but I feel like I had a lot of sauce. So that's about it. And if you guys have any questions, comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.